Hey guys, Cody with CJC Off-Road, and today we're going to be showing my favorite extended cab build that we've done to date. Now, I have been craving building an extended cab for a very long time. When I was finally in the position to purchase one, found out my wife was pregnant, so I do look at every single one of these builds with envy, as I really did need the 4 complete doors, the big back seat, etc. Now, this truck is a very unique build. This customer has come from the Raptor world. He's had multiple Raptors built, from basic street builds to fully caged builds, things like that. And he really wanted a very cool truck to run around town, manage his construction business, and yet still be able to go play down in Baja and the like. He bought this extended cab. If I'm not mistaken, it actually isn't even a fully option package. I believe it was an XLT, and he's done a extremely long list of modifications. It's gonna be very hard for me to even remember every single one, but he did an extremely long list, and a lot of stuff wasn't even done by us, right? So tuning, leather seat change, because again, it came with cloth seats, things like that. But we're gonna go over every single modification that we did to this truck in this video. Starting from the top, this truck is equipped with the 4.5/5.5 inch Carli Suspension 2.5 E-Venture system. What that means, it is a 4.5 inch lift on a 17 to 20 truck. On the 21 and up trucks, it is a 5.5 inch lift system. The 2.5 is gonna mention the diameter of the shock. So it's a 2.5 inch diameter electronically controlled shock. Basically what that's going to do for you is provide an extremely smooth ride both on-road and then provide an extremely controlled ride off-road. So instead of giving very sloppy off-road, how a extremely soft riding system would be on-road, it's going to ride both well in both situations. So that's what makes the system so cool. Now this customer, as you can tell, essentially through the catalog plus some at this truck. So it's going to have the Carli Suspension torsion sway bar, which is going to be a lighter rate sway bar, allowing for a lot more front end movement than the stock sway bar. Carli radius arms, which are gonna not have a common bushing failure that you would see. So when he's down in Baja, he can plan on having a truck that's gonna survive the whole trip with no issues. Moving to the rear, it's got the Carli Suspension leaf springs. Those are an absolute game changer as far as ride quality is concerned on these Super Duty trucks. And when you do lose the capacity for the ride quality with the Carli leaf pack, this truck's gonna have the Carli Suspension long travel airbags. It's going to make up for that loss of capacity, yet allow him to run these airbags at 0 PSI while smashing off-road, and yet put air in the bags when he needs to haul a skid steer and things like that. So it's a very cool suspension package. Lastly is one of the more recent additions to the Carli Suspension rear end catalog. That's going to be the Ford shackles. The factory shackle was the last vulcanized piece in this in the rear suspension system. So we've gone with a shackle that now has the standard top hat style bushing, so it's just going to allow for a lot more of a supple feeling in the rear end and allow suspension just to move that last little bit that was being bound up by that shackle. Now rounding out the Carli Suspension products, we're going to have the Carli Suspension trophy hitch. Now this is an extremely expensive hitch that does a very cool job. For the longest time we had to mount spare tires in the beds of our trucks, take up precious real estate, things like that if we wanted to carry a spare tire of matching 37 inch size or larger on these trucks. Now we have a replacement hitch that has enough room to hold a 37 or 38 inch tire, as well as includes your Baja style Y strap. So you're actually able to jump the truck, not worry about the factory crank style mount, dropping your spare tire out from underneath you, doing damage. Again, the trophy hitch is a very fitting name. This thing can withstand a bomb going off. It is a very cool product for those of you who are truly utilizing the off-road capability of your Super Duty. Now mentioning the wheel and tire package for this truck, it is a 17 inch Method Envy. The customer opted to change the color of the hardware, which is a very cool feature that Method has. He went with the black hardware. That's going to give it the stealth appearance. Tire-wise, he went with a 37 by 1350 R17 Toyo AT3. The customer chose this tire because it's a very good do-it-all tire. Now, instead of being an MT that might lack in snow performance or road longevity, the AT3 pretty much checks every box. It is a snow-rated tire, and it's going to have a ton of tread to give you longer life for both on-road use, and they're going to work still very well off-road. So the AT3 is an awesome tire for that reason. And again, the latest revision has a more aggressive sidewall, so where previous AT tires kind of lack that aggressive stance, this tire still provides an aggressive look, but very good on-road manners. Now moving on to the accessories on this truck. The front end, we have the factory aftermarket light bar with the Baja Designs LP6 lights. These are an extremely bright light. You have 5 of them. You really cannot ask for much more light out of the front of this truck, but the customer did opt for the Morimoto XB lights in amber. That's gonna tie in the aesthetics of this truck. Again, this was kind of a lower trim package, so one of the better looking headlight that would typically come, on a nicer trim truck. Now, moving into the interior of the truck, we did do the Switch Pros 8-panel switch. Typically, guys who are wanting to add more accessories will opt for these because they might fill up all their upfitters or want to keep their upfitters for specific uses. This is going to allow you to turn on lights, control all kinds of stuff very easily from both a keypad as well as an app. Also, in the center console, we put the Dometic fridge in there. Customer will always have cold water, cold drinks, cold sandwich, wherever he's going. And that is a very cool feature. I actually had not seen it on a customer truck until this build. I'll probably be utilizing that on my next personal build. This customer also opted for the revolver bed cover, so that's going to allow him to close up all this stuff and not allow anyone to be able to get the 5-finger discount on any of these cool accessories he's got in the bed. Also, the customer opted for the ARB compressor in the CJC no drill mount. That's going to mount to the passenger side box link bracket. That's going to allow you to run the ARB twin compressor. Now, a very cool thing about this compressor, it's going to be the most popular auxiliary compressor on the market, and it's going to allow you to both fill up a spare tire or send the air to an airbag setup. So this truck has the pack brake airbag controller that's been mounted underneath the truck. So the air bag pressure can actually be controlled by an app on your phone. It's a really cool setup. I've got this on my truck as well. I think the ARB compressor with the pack brake controller is the current king of the hill when it comes to both an auxiliary air setup as well as an airbag air setup. So I would say this is probably our favorite extended cab to date, and personally is definitely my favorite one we've done so far. This truck is just an extremely well-rounded setup, whether it's around town managing his business, playing south of the border, going up to the mountains to snowboard. This truck can do it all with comfort. There's zero sacrifices with this build. Again, except for the back seats, which I still think is an extremely cool factor. And yeah, we are very honored this customer chose us to put this package together. If you do have any questions about the build, I'm sure I missed a piece here or there on this build just because it was an extremely long list that we actually tackled over multiple sessions. But we'll be happy to answer any questions down below. If you did like this build or wanted to get something done similar, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We'll be putting out content all year long, for extremely nice trucks just like this. And we'll see you guys on the next one.